Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how I went from an old kind of dilapidated version of a Stanley Workman to a router table that is fully functioning and hopefully it'll serve me in the future. I know I'm new to this and I have a lot to learn about a router table, and this probably will be my only first iteration, but here we go. Oops. Initially I wanted to set my table up long ways, but after a while and looking at the numbers, I realized there was a crossbar in there that would not allow the router to drop down in the middle. So that posed some, technical difficulties. So I had to go look at this option of having it hang over the end. And this seems to work a little bit better. The sad thing is, like 90% of the way through, I realized that I had an old lay stand that they had sent me that I was not using that would have been perfect, but that'll be for my next version of this table. I've got a lot to learn about using this one and things I can do to make it better. I've been using it a little bit and I plan on practicing all weekend. So hopefully, I'll get better and there'll be a better version coming up. Let me know the best ways to practice, and if you see any add-ons or additions that I can make to it, please let me know in the comments and I will try to incorporate those in the next version. One thing I'd really like to add here is that I struggled with this for a couple hours. I'm trying to find the right screws for the base to join, with stuff that I had on hand, and just the right size screw and metal screws versus wood screws, all that stuff. It was just a headache. There's a lot that I left out here, and that I was trying to avoid going to the hardware store basically. And I probably should have just went and bought screws, but we eventually got it done. In the end, it was stuck to it, and it looks like it's going to work for now. Okay, I need some larger Forstner bits. That almost broke my wrist, honestly. That hurt like hell. This is pretty solid, but I actually went ahead and put a lag bolt in anyways. Once again, I really need those Forstner bits, but look at the technique here. Look at it and weep. You've got to envy my skill as I carefully maneuver this hole saw off the edge of the plank. I know some of you won't believe this, but I spent a couple of nights trying to decide the best way to make the fence because I wanted it to be, steady vertically and steady laterally. So I came up with what I thought was a pretty good idea as far as gluing it up. And, I didn't want it to be too heavy because you don't want that counterbalance that it has on the edge of the workmate causing problems, but you also want it to be rigid. So this is what I came up with, and I'm actually pretty impressed with myself. I know some people will make fun of me in the comments. Go ahead, just be nice. I don't know what it is, but there's something that is so oddly satisfying about using a brad nailer. I can't put my finger on it, but every time I just smile every time I get to use it. Now you can't tell me this isn't a genius at work here, coming up with that using the spare board as a stopgap. I'm well on my way to being a professional woodworker. And surprise, surprise, it doesn't fit. What in the hell is going on here? I'm really getting dejected at this point. I mean, I can force it on there, but yeah, that's not how a fence is supposed to. So I do what anybody would naturally do. I flip it over and run it upside down over my table saw. I should have used my 4-inch skill saw in hindsight, but well, this seemed to make it at least move a little better. So it did the purpose, even though it wasn't the best way of doing it. In hindsight, I should have used that little skill saw with its fence that it has, but I wasn't thinking straight at the time. And of course, sanding will make it better. So need a lot of sanding, lots of sanding. Sanding makes everything better. And even more sanding, because sanding can fix your screw ups and measurements. And actually, the problem was that the piece of plywood had a slight bow in it. It actually wasn't in my measurements. Everyone's favorite part, when even plywood can be made to look pretty. And I was actually a little impressed with how decent this piece of plywood looked after a little bit of oil and wax. Well, and I was elated to find out that it actually helped the movement, which it should have, of my fence. Once I applied this, let it rest. Look at that. That is pretty smooth. That is pretty smooth. A quick plate over the back to go with my non-existent dust collection system. I am out of brad nails at first, so I have to do it again for dramatic effect. And here we go, the test run of Victor's new router table. I am not naive, and I realize that I need a lot of practice on how to use a router table properly and everything. There's just so much I need to learn. Please let me know in the comments what you suggest and what improvements I should make. And just thank you for watching this far if you made it this far. And I wish you the best of a weekend, the best of holidays, and I hope you have a wonderful new year. And don't forget to smile wherever you're at and whatever you're doing, because, our happiness is the only thing we can really control in life. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Oh, yeah, I'm supposed to say like and subscribe also. Please like and subscribe. It really helps out a lot. If you don't want to, I understand. There's a lot of channels I watch that I don't like or subscribe to. But if you want to, please do, and I appreciate it.